You know, every time we gather together to celebrate the holy sacrifice of the Mass, the whole church is gathered. And I don't mean just the assembly here this morning, or the assembly at St. Mary's, or the assembly that's going to take place at St. Leo's, and the one at St. Peter's, and those in Dover, and those in Manchester, or all over the world. That's only part of the church. The whole church is gathered. This is the church triumphant. The church militant. We're still working it out. The scripture this morning says that the souls of the just are in the hands of God. But our souls are made just by the sacrifice of Jesus Christ. There is something about our humanity that is not yet ready to see the face of God. You know, St. Paul wrote in his letter to the Romans about his own frustration with regards to sin in his life. And he couldn't understand why every time he wanted to do the right thing, he was being tempted to do the wrong thing. And he began to realize that if he didn't want to do that stuff, it wasn't him that was doing it. There was something in him that was causing him to do those things he didn't want to do. He reconciled that it was sin in him. It's the sin in him. It's the sin in me. It's the sin in all of us that causes us to do those things that we don't want to do. And so it is the grace of God given to us from the cross, from the sacrifice of Christ, that justifies us if we cooperate with that grace. The scripture also said that like gold, we are tested. Fire burns away the impurities in gold, and once the impurities are gone, pure gold is left. And so that is what the purpose of grace is to perfect in us that nature which is wounded, which is not yet ready to see the face of God. And so if we cooperate with grace in the manner that the Blessed Virgin Mary cooperated with it, then at death we are ready to see the face of God. But how many of us have cooperated with grace to that extent? And so what do you think happens to that stuff in myself, in you, in all of us when we die? It doesn't just go away. It's part of us. And so that stuff has got to get worked out somehow. And so not only is the church militant gathered here this morning, but the church suffering is gathered. All of those holy souls in purgatory, all of those souls, those faithful departed, who at the time of death were in the state of grace, but were not yet perfect. And were not yet ready to see the face of God. And so we're still in the process of becoming perfected by the power of God's grace from the cross. It is a mercy that God gives us. You know, I shudder to think today the number of young people who are totally and absolutely unaware of the power of prayer in the lives of the faithful departed. You see, they pray for you and they pray for me, but they can no longer pray for themselves because their lived lives are over. It is our lives. We have the opportunity to make changes in our lives and continuously turn more toward God. But our prayers can affect them. And so it was part of the mystery that our grandparents and our parents entered into and embraced, that when the faithful departed passed on, masses were said, candles were lit, rosaries were prayed, and they were remembered in our prayers. But so often today, I think the idea is that, especially I hear it at funerals, they all go to heaven. They're all saints in the glory of heaven. Good people they are, but I wonder, are they really in heaven? Maybe, but maybe not. And we should pray for them. And then there is the church triumphant, which is gathered here this morning. All of those holy souls that are in the glory of heaven and have attained the beatific vision, the glory of God. But most especially today, we celebrate the commemoration of the souls of the faithful departed. Those holy souls in purgatory, who are on the way. And I want to tell you a little story. You know, sometimes God allows the souls in purgatory to manifest themselves to their loved ones in special ways, letting them know that they need prayer. And so this is a story that happened to a cousin of mine. And he had a daughter by the name of Teresa, and he and Teresa were very, very close. They went hiking together, they went fishing together, they did a lot of things together. She was very outdoorsy, just like Roger. And so she was about 45 and she had a massive coronary, and she passed away. And it devastated my cousin, just like it would any of you when your children predecease you. And so one night, he had a dream. And his daughter, Teresa, came to him in a dream. And you know what it's like when you've been away from somebody for a long time, you haven't seen them, and when you see them, there's an excitement there. And so in the dream, she came to her father, Roger, and he was all excited. And Terry, is that you? Is that really you? And so, because Roger was a little balding, see. And so she had a nickname for him. She used to call him Shiny Top. And she said, "How you doing there, Shiny Top?" And she said, "Daddy, I'm in school, but I'm almost done. Pray for me." I said, "Roger, your daughter is in purgatory. Purgatory is a school of love, where all of that stuff, all of that self-centeredness, all of that self-love is purged from us." And she's telling you that she's in school, she's in purgatory, and that she's almost done. She needs prayers. Have masses said for her. How many of us have family members, friends, people that we know that have predeceased us, who may be in heaven and may be in purgatory, and we could pray for them, have masses said for them? So today we commemorate all of those holy souls, all of the faithful departed, who are in the just, who are in the hands of God, who continue to be perfected, to be made ready for the glory of heaven. There are no empty seats this morning. The entire church is gathered with us. The church militant, the church suffering, and most especially the church triumphant. May the souls of the faithful departed, through the mercy of God, rest in peace.